Some of the wildest country in South Dakota is not underground at all. It is right here, out in the open, on a quiet trail where the tallgrass and the shortgrass of America meet, where a wild herd of buffalo still grazes the horizon, and where somewhere beneath your boots, one of the longest caves on Earth is slowly breathing. This is the world above Wind Cave, and today we walk the Cold Brook Canyon Trail. We are in the southern Black Hills of western South Dakota, in the backcountry of Wind Cave National Park, a few miles north of the town of Hot Springs. Most visitors come for the famous cave below. We are here for the surface, a rolling ocean of native prairie stitched with islands of ponderosa pine, and a little walked path that drops off the grassland into a hidden canyon. The Cold Brook Canyon Trail starts quietly at the edge of the open plain and slips away from the road almost at once. There are no crowds out here, no railings, just a thread of dirt through the grass. It rolls gently across the prairie for a while, then begins to tilt downward, following the shallow draw of Cold Brook as it feels its way toward the canyon and the park boundary beyond. This grassland is rarer than it looks. Wind Cave protects one of the finest surviving stretches of mixed grass prairie in the country, the meeting place where the tall grasses of the wet eastern plains blend into the short grasses of the dry western ones. It is a living seam between two great grasslands, and only tiny fragments of it were ever spared the plow. To walk it is to see the old sea of grass much as it always was. A prairie is not an accident, and it is not idle. It is kept alive by fire and by grazing. For thousands of years, lightning and deliberate burning swept these plains, clearing away brush and returning nutrients to the soil, while vast herds cropped the grass and churned the earth with their hooves. Take those forces away and the pines and shrubs creep in. Here the park lets fire and the herds do their ancient work, and the grassland endures. And the greatest of those grazers is back. The American bison was hunted to the very edge of extinction, until only a few hundred remained on the whole continent. In 1913, a small herd was brought to Wind Cave to begin again. Today their descendants, a genetically important and truly wild herd, roam this prairie in the hundreds. The buffalo have come home to the grass above the cave from which, the Lakota say, the first of them once emerged. Walking here means walking in their country, and that asks for respect. A bull bison can stand 6 feet at the shoulder and weigh a ton, and for all their calm, shaggy stillness, they are fast, powerful, and wild. Rangers ask hikers to give them a wide berth, at least the length of a couple of buses. There are few feelings on the plains quite like cresting a rise on a lonely trail and seeing the dark shapes of buffalo scattered across the grass ahead. Lower down, the grass gives way to bare earth pocked with burrows, and the air fills with sharp little barks. These are Prairie Dog Towns, sprawling underground cities of tunnels and chambers. The prairie dogs are the beating heart of this ecosystem, engineers whose digging aerates the soil and whose colonies feed almost everything else. Bison and pronghorn graze the fresh growth around their towns, and hawks, badgers, and coyotes come to hunt them. Other great grazers share the plain. Out on the open grass you may catch the flash of a pronghorn, the fastest land animal in the Americas, built to outrun predators that vanished from these plains long ago. And in the cooler hours from the shelter of the pines, elk drift down to feed at the woodland edge, their bugling calls carrying across the draws in autumn. This is a full and living prairie, not an empty one. Climbing the slopes and gathering in the canyon are the ponderosa pines, the tree that gives the Black Hills their name. From a distance, their dark green forests look almost black against the pale grass, and it was the Lakota who named these mountains Paha Sapa, the Black Hills, the sacred heart of their world. These are not just pretty trees on a hillside. They stand on holy ground, and the trail carries you quietly into it. Then the prairie ends. The trail tips over the lip of Cold Brook Canyon and drops into a different world. Grass gives way to rock and shade as pale limestone walls rise on either side and tall ponderosas root themselves in the draw. The open sky narrows to a ribbon overhead. It is cooler here, greener, quieter, a sheltered pocket of forest hidden inside the great sweep of the plains. This is a trail most visitors never see. While the crowds line up for the cave tour, the Cold Brook Canyon path is often empty, and its quiet is its greatest gift. Out here, the only sounds are wind in the grass, the bark of a distant prairie dog, and your own boots on the dirt. It is the kind of solitude the plains were made for, a chance to feel the sheer scale of the land with no one else in sight. And through all of it, remember what lies beneath you. Somewhere under these grassy slopes and canyon walls winds one of the longest and most complex caves in the world. More than 150 miles of mapped passage folded into a few square miles of rock. The Lakota knew its natural opening as the breathing earth, for wind pours in and out of it with the weather. As you walk the surface in the sun, the cave below is quietly breathing in the dark. So this one quiet hike holds an entire world. A rare native prairie kept alive by fire and hoof, a wild herd of buffalo returned from the brink, towns of prairie dogs and the creatures that depend on them, sacred pine hills, a hidden canyon, and a breathing cave beneath it all. Few places pack so much life and meaning into so few miles of trail. The Cold Brook Canyon Trail asks little and gives much. No famous overlook, no grand summit, just the honest beauty of the plains as they once were, and the animals that belong here moving freely across them. It is a reminder that the wonder of Wind Cave is not only in the darkness below. It is up here too, in the wind, the grass, and the great returning herds. A rare prairie, the buffalo come home, sacred pine hills, and a breathing cave hidden somewhere beneath your boots. Thank you for watching. Follow for more interesting people, places, and things we cover on the channel.